A school teacher was found with a list of the people she wanted to exterminate. At least she said she had this list to a student. That student confirmed the statement from the teacher. The teacher was allowed to leave school, and the police were called hours after she was dismissed. Let me give you background to this story. Let's put up the picture of the school in question. A 5th grade school teacher was arrested after police said she told a student they were at the bottom of a kill list that included the names of other students and also faculty members. On Wednesday, a 5th grade student at St. Stanislaus School, a Catholic elementary in East Chicago, Indiana, told a guidance counselor that their teacher made comments about killing herself, students, and staff members, according to a statement posted to the Facebook page. The police identified the teacher as Angelica Torres from Griffith, Indiana. According to the statement, Torres, who's 25 years of age, also told the student she had a kill list of other students and faculty members. Torres was advised to leave the school upon receipt of this information, but police said they were not notified until the teacher was gone, and actually it was hours later. The East Chicago Police Department was not made aware of the situation until 4 hours after the teacher was allowed to leave, according to the statement. Now let me say this, I do believe that's a significant violation of protocol, especially when you're dealing with the welfare, safety of actual children. She also threatened members of the staff, but she was allowed to leave. And then hours later, the police were called. There could be an underlying issue of mental health here. That's why I'm glad we have the good doctor on the program. But outside of that conversation, the protocol, obviously inappropriate. If a teacher makes a threat to a student body or to faculty of that magnitude, telling them to go home for the day is not the appropriate remedy. I do believe that there was an argument, a debate among the leadership of this school. And that debate went something like this: should we call the police or should we not call the police? Well, did we find the list? No, we don't have the list in hand, so we can't confirm the list. But she did say it out loud. So we do need to call the police. At some point, that argument won hours after she was told to go home. Now, the East Chicago police chief, whose name is Jose Rivera, told Insider that not being notified immediately that Ms. Torres made those threatening comments impacted their investigation. The quote is, "I'm not gonna put any thought on the school," Rivera said. I mean, they did what they felt was needed at the time and what they felt was proper according to their policies or protocol. But it does affect the investigation, because if I were to be contacted while she was still in the office, that she admitted to making those threats, we could have taken her into custody at that moment and not a whole 24 hours later. Here's another reality. They probably could have found the list. At this point, the list has not been located. According to the school, Torres left campus after students were dismissed. After students were safely dismissed at the end of the school day, the teacher was escorted off campus, and the East Chicago Police Department was notified at approximately 4:45 p.m. A statement that was posted to the school's Facebook page Friday. Pressed about the question, the police assured the principal that the facility was safe and that they could proceed normally with all scheduled learning and school events for the next school day. But that's not all the way 100% accurate. The school has decided to go to e-learning while this issue is still unresolved. There's more. The following day, Ms. Torres was arrested and charged with 1 count of felony intimidation at her residence in Griffith after the Criminal Investigation Division obtained an emergency detention order, Rivera said. Now, Doc, I gotta ask you this question, because there's some level of evidence here that the school teacher may have some underlying mental health issue. She's definitely, if suicidal, going through a mental health crisis. Their response has seemed to be very heavy, obviously, on the criminality of the threat, rather than also the issue that may be underneath it, which is a mental health breakdown. What are your thoughts as a mental health doctor, a psychiatrist? What's your take on this entire ordeal?
Well, I certainly agree with you that there's a backstory that we don't know, and as facts come out, we will learn about the possibility of some kind of mental health issue, which sounds like quite possible just given this limited information. But of course, the bigger story for me as somebody who's a mental health expert, but also a gun violence prevention expert, is the bigger story about just how we think about the responsibility of teachers. I mean, when I first read this story, I thought on one hand, here's somebody who clearly needs help and they should get help hopefully. But also think of all the work we're doing in this country to arm teachers right now. And the assumption, which is understandable after Uvalde and other places, is the teachers are the good guys, they're the protectors, we're gonna give them guns in case something like Uvalde happens. And I understand that impulse, but I don't know, you teach college, I teach college. There are a lot of people in schools who I really don't want to have armed. And so I think this highlights the other issue, which is that teachers are human. They're potentially volatile themselves. And so I think the question is really, what's the role of a teacher? But it just makes me nervous on a broader scale, not this issue precisely, because I don't know if guns played out. But this idea that we're just blindly going in and arming teachers across the country, really I think is a setup for a situation like this to turn bad somewhere. Not that it would turn bad, in this particular way, but it's just we're doing this without thinking, who is exactly that we're arming, and we're adding guns into the school.
You make a great policy point, connecting back to this dilemma that many school teachers face inside of K through 12 education. But here's another aspect of policy. This is a real challenge. There are school teachers experiencing mental health issues all across the United States of America. And it's not just attributed to, let's say, kids. It's not just the kids. Sometimes it's actually the administration, the faculty. But there's no remedy. There's no policy remedy to provide a mental health support aid to teachers in K through 12 education. That has not been presented. See, that would actually solve a real problem, right? That impacts learning. That is, there's an issue that we know of clearly, but there's no policy proclamation to fix it. They want you to believe critical race theory is the only evil they need to fix. It's not even taught and it's not even evil. All right, we'll continue to follow it as it develops.